Okay, let's try to talk about the movie mode. The movie mode in here is kind of neat because it gives you two options of quality levels. And if you want to change those levels, you can go to the menu, go to the motion picture level, and there's a record mode. Click on that to the right, or you can hit the select button, and you can choose between AVC HD or Motion JPEG. But if I found Motion JPEG is usually a little bit better quality than the AVC HD version. But you know what? With the AVC HD, you get a couple of benefits. You can fill up the entire SD card as much as you want, and also the optical stabilization works with the AVC HD format. It does not turn on for the Motion JPEG, which is kind of annoying because it'd be nice to have the stabilization for the movie with the Motion JPEG, but for whatever reason, it's not an option that you can enable when you're on the Motion JPEG version. So it's a little here and there. Plus AVC HD, if you're it's a little not all computers will play it out of the box, but there's plenty of players that have it, and Panasonic includes some software to play the videos, and you can always convert them. There's actually a lot of open source software that'll convert the movies over if you want to do something with it. I tend to use it in Motion JPEG because I don't tend to shoot more than a 2 GB file generally at one time. And I figure, like I said, the quality is a little bit better, I find. Unless I'm in a place where I really think I'm going to need image stabilization, I generally don't switch off. But image quality of the 1080p is actually very good in good lighting, as is always the key with these cameras. Good lighting, quality is very good. Not so great lighting, it starts to really jump off a cliff. The quality starts to go down a lot. Even right now, if I took a quick little video of me moving around, and I'm just, oh yeah, nice thing is that there's actually a little record button on top that you can just go ahead and hit. So that's actually really good. But, and you can hit that again to stop recording. But it's recording, and I can move it around, and it's great. And it looks great on the screen. And then when you go to your PC and you look at it, like, oh, there's a lot of noise in it and stuff. But hey, it's not a movie camera. It's just a nice feature that's good to have, and it does good quality if you give it enough light. Even in this room with a low lighting here, it's not really going to do a perfect star video. However, earlier in the day, I actually did take some stuff outside, and it did really well. I was actually very impressed with the HD video. Actually came out really nice with a lot of lighting outside. And actually, if you're outdoors and you're traveling and you're moving around, and even if you're probably underwater, if there's enough light there, it'll do a good job. You'll get even a decent to really good video out of the camera. Anything low light, you can kind of forget about it. But hey, you know what? You can still record the video. It may not be the greatest, but it's a video, so that's okay. Not that big a deal. I'll go back and do all the modes. So you have your eye auto mode, which is not so intelligent most of the time. Your normal picture mode, sports mode, snow, beach and snorkeling, underwater. This is more for underwater when you're using the little extra case that you can buy for this for going for deep diving, like 40 meters deep, which is kind of nice. 3D photo, which I won't show you because I don't have a 3D photo TV, but it supposed to work. Haven't heard anything on it, but you know, maybe we'll try it and see how it goes. Your scene modes are portrait, soft skin portrait, transform, which actually has like slim and stretch functions on it, which I guess that's little goofy, nice little features. Self-portrait mode, basically it'll let you, when you zoom in or you zoom wide, it'll actually give you an LED will flash or and tell you that you're in focus or in range. Scenery, you know, panoramic photo, you know, stitching, so you can do panoramic photos. Night portraits, night scenery. Again, you're gonna need to use these two modes if you want to do the long 8-second shutters with a tripod or on a standstill somewhere, on something that you get firm that you'll know that's sitting. Handheld night show if you're into the stacking images, which is great. Food, party, candlelight, baby 1, baby 2, which also does facial recognition. You can give it the age and name of your baby, and I think you can also select the faces for it, I think. And then pets, sunset, high sensitivity, high speed burst, flash burst, starry sky, fireworks, aerial photo, pinhole, film grain, high dynamic, photo frame, blah, blah, blah. A lot of little extra special nodes if you want to try to use them for certain features. Since this doesn't actually have a manual mode, you may have to go one of these modes to physically do stuff, such as, again, Starry Night Sky mode to actually pick your shutter speed on longer times, 15, 30, and 60. The other thing I forgot to mention is that if you're in either intelligent auto or normal picture mode, I didn't show you the cool auto tracking thing. So let me try and show you that. So if I try to focus, and there it pops up, you see AF tracking. What that does is basically you can, if I click the top button, it gives me a little window to focus on something, and if I press the down button, it'll lock on it. So I'm gonna try to lock on that Coke can, which you actually probably can't be able to see that. So let's try something else. It probably won't work on this, but we're going to try to lock on it. And what it does is, once the thing has a lock, a little yellow thing pops up. Oh, good. And the window moves with it. So you can, wherever I'm going, it actually tracks that object and focuses. So if you got a guy coming down a ski hill on the white snow and a red background, you can lock on him, and by the time he comes around to where you want to shoot him, you can click, and it'll keep focusing on that object. This generally only works, I think, based on the contrast levels on the picture. So if you have a lot of stuff in the picture or contrast, it doesn't always pick it up. So if you had like a lot of orange stuff, like this little thing's orange, and had another orange thing to the left side, and I move the thing around, it'll start picking up the other orange or other piece. So sometimes it's not always working 100%, but it actually is really nice to have and a good little feature. And it doesn't hurt. I mean, having that feature is just always a little extra benefit that could, for certain situations. So I like it. I've used it a little bit, but I haven't had anything I want to really track yet. But the focusing itself is actually pretty quick and does well. And there's also not so much shutter lag time between the focusing and clicking. It's actually pretty quick. So I think there was a problem with some older models that had a little bit a long or a laggy shutter, but this one's done really great. All right, so now I'm gonna go quickly over my pros and cons. It's good waterproof level up to 40 feet, shockproof up to 6.6 feet, dustproof, freeze-proof up to -10 degrees Celsius, which is a little bit better than some of the competitors out there. Long exposure mode up to 60 seconds, autofocus tracking, which is a neat feature, facial recognition. So if you have your family members and you want to put their faces on there and put their names on it, you can, and it'll recognize that. Alpha has face detection. Lots of scene modes, good optical image stabilization, very good quality photos in movies and good lighting. Good low light performance if you go do kind of like the normal mode and adjust the settings if you're not using a flash. If you're using a flash, it doesn't matter which mode you take, it's going to be overly strong flashlight on people's faces and stuff like that. So it's about as good as you're going to get on any camera, really, unless you use a separate flash unit or something, which you're not for this kind of camera. But if you don't use a flash, it can do good light, but you're gonna have to kind of adjust the settings on your own and go from there. Full HD, which is really great, and it does it in 2 formats. There's a lot of autofocus options. Does exposure bracketing. The handheld night mode is really cool. The macro and digital modes are also very nice, and you can use the macro mode to kind of get a trick depth of field or help do your depth of field effects for a nice blurry background in the background and in focus face or object. LED light for underwater use is kind of nice, and also for dark environments to focus quicker. The GPS, barometer, altimeter, compass, all extra nice features. GPS definitely for geotagging. And so far I've had good battery life. I've taken, I think, over 300 photos and a couple of movies and stuff on this, and it's still got a good battery life on there. And now the things I don't like. Things actually I think are bad and things that are not so great of the camera is that the eye auto mode is just finicky and doesn't always use the best settings. When you're in decent light conditions or low light conditions, it's really iffy about that. Pretty much in indoors or low light or dark areas, it's always going to turn the flash on, which it probably should because it doesn't know how else to really figure out the best solution for you. If you can get away from that and learn how to use your camera and adjust the manual settings a little bit better on your own, you'll get a lot better photo. But that's not really the camera's fault. It's just trying its best, kind of. And most compact cameras in this area always turn the flash on automatically, just guaranteed, just to get the photo. And if a photo that's in focus is always better than a photo that's blurry and not great. So the other thing that's not so great is the poor low light performance without the flash in, again, auto mode. It's not crush proof, which some of the competitors are now. The scrolling and zooming through the images, it's not a deal breaker, but it is a little bit of noise that could definitely be an improvement. I mean, at this level, at this time, I figure most compact cameras can be able to quickly move through your review your photos a lot quicker and check things out. So a little weird that's a little finicky and just kind of really stuttering a little bit. And the other thing that's kind of odd is that these buttons are nice and tiny, so if you have gloves on, it's not really going to be too helpful, I think, when you're on there. I mean, my hands are kind of small, and I can push them pretty easily right now, but if I had a gloves on, or if I'm skiing or something, these are not going to be so fun to push. That might be a problem for some people, and not that you can't push them. I'm sure you can get away with enough spacing to push on these, and they're not that badly designed, but it is a little bit, I think it might be a little tricky to push on them with your gloves on. And now finally just nitpicks, which are just tiny little annoyances that you may or may not care about and really don't hurt the camera, but just things that I was annoyed about. There aren't actually that many artistic modes, and it's funny that I'm complaining about that because I never use them ever. But there are only a few couple things like black and white, sepia, and like one over-exaggerated color mode. I mean, really, that's like 3 things. Most cameras have like 20 things by now, but again, not important. That's why it's just a nitpick, but annoying, or just kind of like, expect a little bit more. White balance, great that you can adjust it with the quick menu, but you can't actually set it from the quick menu. You actually have to go through a big, deep menu system to actually set it. But you can do quick fire adjustments, which is actually really nice. So it's kind of a plus and a minus. And again, most people will never care about this feature, but it's a little, again, a nitpick. My comparison to competitors, the only other competitor that's coming out so far that I've seen is the Pentax WG1. It's a little less on the waterproof and shockproof ratings, but it is crush proof. The other thing is that I don't actually see a lot of extra features on the Pentax that I've seen, other than being a 14 megapixel camera, and supposedly should have a very good sensor and good quality images. I haven't seen too much else on that in the feature list. It does have a GPS and a non-GPS version, and they are boasting about their digital microscope mode, which that's basically a digital macro with, you know, extra LED lighting around it. But hey, it's a feature. I feel like this camera has a lot of other extra features that are more documented or more explained, and a lot of extra stuff that's there to help you take a lot better photos. So, I mean, especially the long shutter speed, mode, and the auto tracking and the face tracking, the autofocus tracking that actually tracks objects that you can select on your own. I mean, full HD. The Pentax is only 720p. You know, things like that. Just a lot of will push this kind of over the edge for me, and then maybe you say, you know what, this is the camera that's probably best for me and what I want to do. But really, so far I haven't seen any other one. Even the Olympus one that's coming out, I was kind of disappointed on that one just because the aperture size was a lot higher. I believe it's a 3.9, which this is a 3.3, and that actually makes enough of a difference on these small compact cameras. If I could go down to 2.8 lens on this, like my really 8-9-year-old ST200 ELPH, I mean, I would get even better photo quality and better images, just be able to have that extra bit of light come in. But again, these are compact cameras. Its purpose is to travel with you and not break if you drop it or go underwater or go in the snow or ice, and still take good images. And in that, this camera does that all really, really well. If I had to give this a rating out of 10, I'd have to give this an 8 out of 10. I think it's just really good, well solid, works well, has a lot of features. It is a little pricey, but it's actually very comparative to any of the other models that are in this segment. So overall, very good camera. I'm happy with it. So I hope you liked the review. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.